Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Me and You podcast, a conversation between me and you, the listener. As always, I want this conversation to continue in other spaces like Instagram or Patreon. This is a space for reflection and brainstorming, a safe space on the internet where we can evolve and create compassionate community. Once again, I am not someone who has all the answers. I'm not someone who is perfect. This is a space for honest reflection and like a jumping off point. I love hearing your input. I love hearing your feedback, especially when it's in a compassionate way. And I just really want to grow together, guys. Like that is truly my heart and soul and my intention with this. So last week, we talked about a bite sized approach to healing. And we left off on creating bite sized habits as a way to enjoy your life and to find a sustainable path towards your goals. Last week, I kind of just laid the foundation for like the mindset that I'm coming at this from. Like, I look at a bite sized approach to healing as a mindset. And now, with that mindset, I want to talk about like tangible things that we can do to get us there. So, today, we're going to kind of continue that conversation into something that I call anchors in my routine and how to create and implement them. So, I don't know if anchors exist anywhere else, guys. I'm honestly not sure. This is just something that like over time I've kind of just created. But anchors are accessible habits in your routine that help you to maintain your peace and mental clarity so that you have the energy to show up for your passions and your responsibilities. So the key word here is accessibility. These are not crazy, outlandish habits that kind of draw a pit in your stomach when you've had a long day and you're like, fuck, now I got to make this happen. Like, these are not those things. These are really tiny, bite sized habits that are kind of just tethering you back into yourself. Okay, back into your true self. For me, these are the building blocks or the basics in my routine. And I actually plan to, on this episode, give you some examples of. I'm going to provide basically like a really long list of anchors, and I will post this list on Instagram and, of course, on Patreon. I would love for you to share if this sparks any ideas for you or like how you could implement this for you and maybe you've been doing anchors in your routine, you haven't even been calling them that, but I'm wondering, what are you guys doing to help you kind of stay connected to yourself? Because the way that I see it is like, if you don't love your day-to-day life, it's hard to want to do the things in your life. Of course, life is going to have some hard stuff in it. Like, of course, there's going to be things that we really don't want to do, things that we really don't want to show up for. But if we can also have these habits, these little micro habits that are helping to maintain like a healthy heart and a capable mind, we are able to show up for the things that we love and the things that we don't love, but are part of our life that we have to do. Like, kind of just Elizabeth Gilbert, and she talks about the shit sandwich in life, and that has, oh my gosh, that has stuck with me so much, where it's like when you love something and you want to pursue something, but it also comes with like some shit in it, and it's like you kind of have to eat the shit sandwich. Something for me is like creating, like with this podcast, part of the shit sandwich is at some point I will face some sort of opposition, where someone may not agree, or maybe I rep them wrong, maybe I say the wrong thing. And I'm always looking to grow and I'm always looking to evolve. So, I would happily be corrected once I get past the like inner sting in my heart, because I am a sensitive girly. But like that's part of the shit sandwich when you put yourself out there. Part of it is people are gonna have their own reaction to it. And I will happily eat that because it's on my heart so much to uh, create and connect with other people. So, getting us back on track, I want to talk about flexibility. Like, guys, I really got to drill in this idea of accessibility and flexibility with habit and goal setting. Because, like I mentioned last week, when we have really rigid ideas for how we should show up for things, it's really, really hard to meet them, and we end up boxing ourselves in, and it gets so tight, and it's so hard to move beyond it. And then it's like, well, if I can't show up in this way, then I just shouldn't show up at all. Like, you ever like get on like kind of like a fitness journey of some sort, and you're like, I'm gonna do I'm going to show up to the gym 5 times a week, and 3 days I'll do legs and 2 days I'll do like, you come up with your whole routine, and then like one day you just don't have the fucking energy. Your job takes it out of you, or life just like happens and you just don't have it. And so you don't do it at all because you're like, unless I can show up like this, then I just shouldn't show up. And it's like, no, actually, consistency is when you show up anyway, even if it's not 100%. I would consider myself a perfectionist. And in that, I want to show up constantly perfect in all of my endeavors, which is so unrealistic. And that unrealistic expectation leads to shame, which last week we talked about is not the way forward. Shame is a spiral that just kind of keeps you in place and it keeps you like rotating around the same thing. But the real path forward is to love yourself through it and to give yourself grace. So let's say, and when I share the list, I'll kind of get more into like flexible versions of the list. And I'm acting like this list is some like fucking amazing list. Like, guys, it's just like shit that I've come up with over time. That's really what it is. It's nothing crazy. I want to know, like, what are things that help you to cultivate a healthy mind and heart? These are mental maintenance habits. I love that term, mental maintenance. Like, in the same way that you brush your teeth every day, which, oh my God, I saw a video the other day where Aurora, I think, yes, that's her name. The one who sings, is the song "Runaway." If I run off the world someday, nobody knows, nobody know that song. She was saying that, brushing your teeth is the only time you clean your skull, and I was like, that lives in my brain, guys. Like what? Like what? I'm cleaning my skull anyways. That just like, wow. I was like, she's a visionary. Like, protect her. So, in the same way that you would brush your teeth or you would take a shower every day, these are mental maintenance habits, and they can look as flexible as daily habits to weekly habits to monthly habits. These are not things that like you need to meet the standard of every single day to the highest capacity. And if you don't, then you're a piece of shit. And I want to encourage you that there is flexibility here. And the way that I kind of look at this, the habits that I've cultivated, they're really like ways to be an active participant in your self-regulation. I love that term, like active participant in my own regulation, because your body is working to regulate you in all these many, in all these various ways. When you get dysregulated in all these micro moments, your body is looking to regulate you and activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of you that is can relax, can create, can sleep, etc. It's like, what if we were just like actively involved in that process? And like, what if we were like actively doing micro little habits that were encouraging that were encouraging a sense of release constantly or a sense of maintenance constantly so that we have the energy to continue to move forward. And instead of letting it all like build up and callous over and get really hard and difficult to grind out. So yeah, okay. So, like I said, talking about like implementing these things, I'm thinking about like when I share this list, picking a few things, 1 to 3. I would hear that and I would be like, bet 5, picking 5. But no, no, don't do it. Resist the urge. Resist the urge, guys. Or if you're the opposite, where you're like, I don't want to do none of this shit. So I'm just going to pick one. Yes, we love it. Do it. Go for it. Just pick one that sings your heart. And if you really want to, pick 3. But the reason why we're starting with a really small amount is because it's going to make it so much more accessible to incorporate it. And that's what I want for you and for us and for me. Like, I just want to allow us to integrate these over, and like root them over weeks and months, and then start to integrate more. Okay. Have grace with yourself. Remember last week I told you, by being exactly where you are, you will get exactly where you need to be. And that is such a relief. It's so relieving. It's such a release of tension. And I really want that for us, guys. Like, I really want us to enjoy our lives so that we have the energy and the passion to continue to move forward with our personal endeavors and to know our true self. So, here's my list. These are some things that I do that help me to anchor into myself. So, one of the first ones is every time I wash my face, I do like kind of warm water. I don't know, like forever ago I read that like warm water helps to like open up your pores. So I always start with warm water and also that cold ass water at the start of the day. Like, no, not prepared for that. So I do some warm water, wash my face with my face wash, and then when I'm rinsing it off, I use cold water. And when the water brushes over my face, I just say something like, "Thank you for this beautiful water, cleansing away." Like just a little affirmation to myself. I'll say something like, "Help me to just release what is no longer serving me." Like, boom, super easy. Or, it could look like, "Thank you for this water." Like just a moment of like presence. I heard something a long time ago that like each moment of presence ripples throughout your day and your week and kind of your life. And I love that. I love how this like tiny, tiny little thing can ripple constantly. Another one is like a shower cleanse. So what I do at the end of my shower, similar thing, I'll turn the water to an accessible version of cold that also helps to engage your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxed kind of state of your nervous system. And what I do is I let the cold water run over me. I rub my hands together, a little ASMR moment. And then I start to just kind of brush off my face, my head, my neck, my shoulders, my arms, my fingers. I'll go down my upper, my near my chest. I'll go down my armpits. I'll go down my back, all the way down to my bottom, to my pelvis, to my hips, to my knees and legs, feet, and all the way out my toes. And then I kind of like shake my hands off, like I'm kind of like shaking off mud or something. And I just kind of imagine like these dense particles moving out of my body and into the shower drain. And that's just like a little practice that I do at the end of a day, just to kind of help me release the day. If I really have it in me, I'll then stand and I'll cross my arms so that they are both on my chest, and I'll do what's known as butterfly taps, slow taps on either side of my body with my hands to um this is known as bilateral stimulation. So this is stimulating both parts of your brain. It's an active presence and an active kind of calming yourself. And sometimes I'll say like a little prayer, which I'm so hesitant to say prayer because I know for me personally, I've had a really complicated relationship to prayer. That's a conversation for another day. I'm not really looking to get into that right now, but I really do want to kind of demystify this idea of prayer and when I say demystify, like if prayer is mystical to you, that's awesome. It could be whatever you want it to be. It's a sacred practice for you. But when I say demystify, I'm more so talking about like taking the mystical kind of mysterious, that's what I mean, mysterious component out of it. Prayer is an easy practice that you get to access. It's a moment of vulnerability with yourself and your spirit, and that's all. And what I do is I just kind of made me say a few things, help me to release the day, help me to release what is no longer serving me, help me to be present with the rest of my evening and to flow into a restful night. Like just something like that, okay? Another thing I do is a little bit of Another thing I do is a little bit of sunshine in the morning. So, I read something a while ago that it's something like 20 minutes of sunshine in the morning. And I think I read this in this book called Emotional Intelligence 2.0. It's a really good book. I definitely recommend reading it. I read something that like when you are, maybe I hope it was that book. I hope I'm not misquoting it, but it was from somewhere, and it was basically talking about how 20 minutes of sunshine in the morning helps to regulate your circadian rhythm, something like that. 20 minutes might be really hard to access. So once again, talking about flexibility, I will just open my window and I will feel the sunshine on my face, which technically in the book it did say that like you actually have to be feeling the direct sun on you, so windows don't count. But anyway, flexibility. What do you want me to stay in a dark room? So either it's that or I feel it through my window. And that's what I'm going for here. So when I open up my window, when I open up my blinds, I mean, if the sun is shining, I will just for a brief moment take a deep breath with the sun on my face. Like tiny, guys, I'm talking about tiny, tiny, tiny habits. Another one after this is sighing. I literally have sighing written down, guys. Like I sigh so much, and I didn't really realize how much I sighed until one time I was at work and I just like let out such a deep sigh, and my manager was like, "Are you good? Like, is everything okay?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "That was a hefty sigh." And I didn't even realize because it's so integrated into my practices now. I don't really think it's a conscious thing that I created. I think it's actually just like my body trying to regulate myself, but now it has become conscious and I sigh a lot, especially when I'm alone. It's an active practice in letting go. Whatever tension just rose to the surface, breathe it right out. Okay, this is a bigger one. It's a day of no obligation. If you can make this happen weekly, kudos to you. If it can only happen monthly, amazing for making that happen. But essentially, it's a full day of no obligation. So I'm someone who will hear that and be like, yeah, 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 amazing, amazing, amazing. Anyway, so I'm going to make sure that, yeah, I have no work, but I'm still going to do laundry and I'll do my chores and why not go for this goal that I've been working on and like start writing or whatever. Like, but I literally mean a day of no obligation, nothing. Like a day where you are not obligated to do anything, no work, no appointments, no meetings, no hangouts, no like nothing that causes some kind of grip on your routine. And this can look so flexible to you. You know, if you're a parent, I want to be so conscious of the fact that like kids present a whole different challenge, a whole different world that I only know a tiny bit of. So like do what you got to do, guys. Take what works from this list, leave the rest. Take it with a grain of salt. All of our lives are kind of functioning differently. So if a day of no obligation works for you, then do it. But a day of no obligation for me kind of just looks like a day where I don't have work, like I said. Maybe I haven't really scheduled to hang out with anybody or I haven't made plans with anybody. I have nothing set on my schedule that I have to do. It's a day where if I want to, I can rot in bed and binge watch my favorite TV show, or I can hang around the house, or I can go for a walk, or go out in nature, or literally do whatever the fuck I want. But there's no set, like preset kind of expectation for the day. So it's like a day of no expectation more so. Um Another thing that I do is I will try to meditate for at the very least 5 minutes in the evening right before I go to sleep and in the morning right when I wake up. Once again, you know, you can't always make this happen. Life presents its challenges, but I do find that this really helps to cultivate a sense of peace and a sense of like interconnectedness for me. Like it kind of connects me to something bigger so that I'm not so like overwhelmed by my life. It gives me kind of like a bird's eye perspective on my life and that just makes everything feel kind of smaller and more accessible. So that's why I like to do that. And it also helps me obviously to release tension because I do get very tense throughout the day. I don't know if you've been able to tell by now, but I'm quite an intense person and I really am like my mind is moving at a million miles a second and it's a lot. So having that kind of like meditative quiet time has been really useful for me. Also, a note on meditation is like meditation is not about being completely zen and having no thoughts and not like just like existing in pure presence. Like if you can do that when you meditate, hats off, that's amazing. But for a lot of us, that's not necessarily the case. For me personally, meditating has looked like creating time to sit with myself even if my thoughts are running fucking game in my head. Like, even if I'm ruminating or just heavily reflecting, or if I'm thinking about other things, like the fact that I even just created time to sit down and just for a duration of time, like tried to feel present, to me, that's enough. Like, to me, like you did the thing already. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. You're trying, and that's amazing. Um, Also a practice that I do when I meditate because my mind does tend to run a lot. It's a practice, I call this like a practice in presence, where it's essentially like I will sit and go through each one of my senses. So I'll connect to what I'm feeling, to what I'm seeing. And I know you're like, what are you seeing? Your eyes are closed. Open your eyes then. No, I'm just kidding. What I'm seeing, I'll see like infinite blackness in my eyes. And I'll kind of like see infinite blackness in every direction inside my head. What I smell, what I taste, I'll activate my taste buds, and then what I hear. And simple as that. Um, okay. Waking up with no phone use. Whoo, child, that is a hard one. Kudos to you if you can make that happen. I was so good about that for so long. And recently I have lost I've completely lost that habit, but I find myself like wanting to roll over immediately, tap my phone and just see like what's going on, who has messaged me. But yeah, waking up with no phone use is actually like amazing, and the things that you do at the very beginning of your day do ripple out to the rest of your day. So if you are able to just like at least get out of your bed without going for your phone right away and just like checking your like messages or your emails or your socials or whatever, that's actually really good for you, and kind of lays the groundwork for you to require your phone less over time. So yeah, I'm not saying that's going to happen one time and then like you're not going to want to go on your phone. These are things that take practice. Repetition sows truth into your spirit. I did not come up with that. Hindsight came up with that. He's an awesome YouTuber and podcaster that I've listened to in the past. And that he said that and it just really stuck with me. Um, okay. I also want to talk about journaling as a mental maintenance habit. So I heard about this thing called morning pages. You might have heard about it. Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way. I think that is her name. I'm so sorry if that's not her name. I'm pretty sure it's her name though. In The Artist's Way, she talks about morning pages. So it's like every morning you wake up and write. She says I think it's 3 pages. For me, an accessible version of that has been 1 page or just a page of gratitude. So like I'll just pull out my journal and all right, I feel the need to explain to myself, to my future self if I ever look back on it. So I'll be like, I have no energy today. I'm just gonna write what I'm grateful for. But I'll just boom, a whole list down of things I'm grateful for. My cat, the sun, the sky, the earth, my friends, my mom, my dad, my, like food, wind, like just random shit that I could be grateful for. And I find that's been a really good practice for me. And I've been implementing that practice now because of the flexibility that I've allowed myself to have with it. I've actually been doing that for almost 5 to 6 years. Like when you let yourself have flexibility with these habits, guys, they last so much longer. Okay, another one is bathing. So I try to take a bath once a week. That has not been happening for me lately because I don't have a bath in my room. Like my roommate has a bath, so I have to like use her bath and you know, yeah. So anyway, I haven't been taking baths lately because I've been like fucking spent and just haven't had the time or the energy. But taking a bath is really relaxing, guys. And throwing some Epsom salts in there, some bubble bath, I'll kind of swirl it around and say something like, let this bath be calming and peaceful for me. That has been kind of an anchor in my routine that makes me feel really connected to myself. That is not something that has been weekly for me. Maybe that's starting to look more monthly, but if you can make that happen weekly or that resonates with you, like awesome, do it. Self dates is another one. Treating yourself to a personal date. As small as going and getting a cup of coffee with yourself and sitting there the whole time rather than like being on your phone or going on the go, or going for a walk in nature or taking a coloring book somewhere and coloring. It could look like literally whatever you want it to. Um, Deep breaths before meals, or if you praying before your meals. But essentially for me, I'll just kind of take 3 very deep breaths before I eat. It's an act of presence and an act of gratitude, and I'll kind of wish for other beings to be as nourished as I am and to take in the nourishment of this food, and thank you for everything that has made this possible for me to be able to enjoy, and go ahead and continue eating. And do I do that on every single meal? No. Does it look really rushed sometimes? Yes. And that's okay because of that flexibility. Once again, I've been able to incorporate that habit for years now. 3 meals a day. This one is really fucking hard, like unnecessarily hard, honestly. Um, I did grow up in dance and, being very athletic. So, like, the relationship to food has been quite a journey, and that's a podcast episode for another day. But it has been very kind of idolized to skip meals in my upbringing. No ma'am, no ham, no beans, and no turkey. We are not doing that, guys. It is so good for your body to make sure that you are nourishing it, to make sure that you're having 3 meals a day if you can. Sometimes it's just really hard. Like sometimes my morning moves really fast and I just don't have the energy or the time to put some shit together. But like I do know that when I cook at home and when I like what I'm eating, when it's like nourishing and yummy, I feel so good about myself. So, and I feel good in my body. Like I feel like I have actual energy after I eat. So I wanted to put that on this list. Kind of trying to eat 3 meals a day. Proper sleep hygiene, whatever that looks like for you. For me, that looks like 8 to 9 hours. Such a blessing. I know I am blessed because some of us just have a work schedule or, like I said, kids who don't let that happen. But at this stage in my life, I just let myself go to bed pretty early. And my day starts like not like at the crack of dawn. So I am able to kind of sleep in a little bit, but proper sleep hygiene, letting yourself actually, have a full amount of hours, a full night's sleep, not staying up in your dark room on your phone before you go to bed. And yeah, getting into that like actual REM like is so good for you. Nature time on a weekly basis. So once a week I do try to get outside to some capacity. At the very least, if it looks like walking to my car, then I will take a moment to notice a leaf. And I know that sounds like so fucking head ass, but I will literally take my hand and touch a leaf and then just keep going. On a fantastic kick-ass week, I'll spend an entire hour out in nature, but it's really hard to make that happen all the time. But if I can just take a brief moment to connect with greenery, like outside, like just nature, like the earth, guys, that is so good for you. We are beings of the earth, and our bodies are of this earth, and our physical bodies are of this earth. And it's so good for us to connect to that and to actually like be in that, to be in water, or to be in natural water, or to be in, you know, connecting to trees, to, oh, a red bird just flew by. Um, to be laying underneath a palm tree and to seeing the palm tree sway in front of your face, like how beautiful, like these are things that really um can help regulate us as a mental maintenance habit. Also, I said palm trees because I live in Florida, but laying under a tree, and just having a tree kind of wash over you, like how beautiful, how serene, how calm, how wonderful that you get to experience that in the middle of your week. That's a blessing. Eating a meal outside. This is something my therapist talked to me about. By the way, I don't know how I made it this long without talking about my therapist because I'm literally obsessed with her. She is a life changer. I adore this woman. But one of the things that she talked to me about when we were kind of talking about like mental maintenance habits kind of over some sessions was just like, what if I ate one meal outside? Like one meal a week or one meal a day or fucking shit, one meal a month. Like just trying to be outside when you eat rather than like being in front of a TV, which is my preferred method of eating because I love a good munch down while I'm watching something I love, or being on your phone. Like it gets a really nice act of presence and being with your hunger cues to like just sit outside and eat. Um, Moving your body in a way that feels fun. I feel like this is finally a conversation coming into like mainstream, like, conversations, spaces. I don't know, but like movement is fun. It doesn't have to be like strenuous repetitions at the gym. If that's your jam, then that's your jam. Jam it all the way out. For me, like the thought of lifting a weight for 3 sets of 10 literally, oh my God, my brain gets so bored and understimulated. But like dancing as a way for cardio, or yoga, or Pilates, or Qigong, or so many things, like so many things that are just like fun to move, like fun things like that makes me want to work out. It makes me want to be physical. And more than anything, it's not about weight loss. It's about connecting to your body and gaining health, gaining fun and movement, and how powerful it is to use your body. That's fantastic. And it's a really powerful practice that can help to anchor you to yourself. Quiet time, whatever this looks like for you. This could look like reading, writing, coloring, walking, meditating, yoga, gardening, cooking, chopping fucking wood, building things, literally anything that you need it to look like where you are quiet. And this is a reflective time. It doesn't have to be, it can be just a quiet time, but sometimes it's good to just like not speak for a little bit and hear what's kind of going on inside of your own being and create space for the acknowledgement of the sensations happening in your body and in the present moment. So yeah, these are a couple habits that I really wanted to share with you guys. I do not do all of these all of the time. I pick and choose from these lists. I've been integrating a lot of these things for years. That's why they are so present for me now. These are not things I started with right away, this entire list. Absolutely not. Guys, the biggest thing I can say is like, please find the habits that work for you. Pick a small few of them and integrate them. And every time you do, reward yourself with, I love myself. Thank you so much to myself for showing up to this. That was a powerful practice for you, even when it's really small. Okay. So the more that you love your life, the more that you'll want to do the things that you love and the things that you don't. And the easier that it will be to listen to your needs, which I really want to talk about in our next episode. So, listening to your needs and how to figure out what you need and how to figure out where to start. I would love to get into that more. But, guys, thank you so very much for being with me. Thank you so very much for connecting with me over this. As always, please, I want to continue this conversation on Instagram at the Me and You podcast, on Patreon at the Me and You podcast. As I said in my last episode, it is my goal for Patreon to be as accessible as possible because I don't want to break your guys' bank. I really do want to create a community where we can be compassionate to one another and reflect with one another and grow with one another and encourage each other. So that is my goal, my heart, my mission, my yeah, that's where my heart is in this. So have a beautiful day, have a gorgeous week. I can't wait to connect with you next time, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.